Hello, and welcome back to Gunfighter Life, the podcast where we talk about gunfighting the right way, with Judeo Christian values, with God at the center, and from real world, first hand experience, real knowledge based on experience and study. Today's topic is going to be on the state of the firearms industry at the time of this recording. Roll into the bio if you want to skip it. Skip to around 4 minutes. That should get you pretty close to the body of the topic. Before we roll into that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review of the podcast if you've listened to it before. Your one-stop shop to find out more, to see pictures, to contact me, to support anything like that is goodshepherdtraining.com. All one word, goodshepherdtraining.com. With that, the bio and then the topic, guys. Who's the guy talking to you through the microphone? First and foremost, I am a Christian. I make no apologies for that. God is number one, and I want to honor that and honor Him. I grew up hunting and fishing in the backwoods of the southeastern United States. I joined the Marine Corps at 17. I did a couple of combat tours in Iraq. After my combat tours in Iraq, I was an urban warfare instructor for the United States Marine Corps, teaching urban warfare and desert warfare to Marines and other military forces. After that, I worked for LAPD as a sworn peace officer. I worked regular patrol assignments, more specialized assignments in law enforcement. Was in that for a lot of years. I also served the United States Army, both full-time and part-time National Guard. I guess I should say that my primary MOSs in both were infantry. I started shooting competition even before I joined the Marine Corps at 17. In fact, by God's grace, with the talents He's given, even won a gold medal before I joined the Marine Corps at 17. I've won more competition shooting matches than I can honestly remember. State rifle and pistol champion a few times over. West Coast regional rifle champion. I've been a private contractor for a 3-letter government agency that I won't specify. I've also been blessed to be the commander of a tactical team in a large metropolitan area where our primary objective, our job, was to stop active shooters. And blessed be the Lord my rock, who trains my hands for war and fingers for battle. I've hunted all over this beautiful country, from mule deer on the west coast to whitetail on the east coast to gray squirrel on the east coast to prairie dogs on the west coast. I have been a professional hunter and guide of all kinds of game. Professionally hunted things like buffalo and elk and deer and exotic species. I have slain wolf and bear and all manner of beast. And I don't apologize for it. FBI certified, NRA certified, firearms instructor, professional firearms instructor for a lot of years. But if you ask me what I am, I'd say first and foremost, I'm a servant of God, a student of the Bible, a teacher, a preacher, and a fisher of men. Blessed be the Lord my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. Psalm 144. With that, let's get into today's topic. So you heard a little bit about my bio in a nutshell. What I'm currently doing is not affiliated with the podcast. I won't mention exactly what, but I don't think it's being too specific to say that I manage a firearms and training company in Arizona. No, obviously, as you've heard of my bio, guns have been part of my life since I was a very, very child, I guess, since I was a very young child, not even a man. And I've seen many things in the firearms industry. I've seen many trends. I've seen, just like there's, trends in the, I guess, fashion industry. I'm not exactly a high fashion guy, but just as there are trends in that, there's also trends in the firearms industry. I don't think that I have to tell anybody right now that we're going through an ammo shortage, and we have been for quite a long time. I've lived through ammo shortages in the past, and if I'm being honest, I never thought that they would last this long. I never thought that the ammo shortages would stay as long as they have. I had ammo, saved up. I'm not a hoarder of ammo. I'm a shooter and a trainer. I like to train. I don't think it does much good to have a stockpile of 5,000 rounds at home and you don't survive the next gunfight you get in. I'd rather be good and have the rounds that are in my magazine than have a bunch stockpiled at home. Well, I had some, because I lived through ammo shortages before, pretty big ammo shortage back in 08, 09-ish time frame. And I lived through that, and that got better after a couple months. 22 was bad for maybe a year or two. But everything else got good after a couple months. This ammo shortage is unlike anything I've ever seen. It's better now than it was, but it's still a far, far cry from what it used to be just 2 years ago. And I guess the world's a far different place than it was 2 years ago. You know, every time you think something's getting better, then something else comes along, another, news event, the banning of the Russian ammo, which affects pretty much all ammo because the people that were going to shoot that are now going to shoot something else. So I guess the big thing to address is the ammo shortage. And I wish I had a thing I could tell you where you could get all the unlimited ammo you wanted at old prices, but I don't. But I'll give you the same advice they gave my team when I was a leader of a team leader for a tactical team right before I took this job, is that don't worry about what ammo used to cost. Ammo costs what it costs now. I would not advise you to stop shooting or stop training until, 9mm gets back to 15 cents a round or 18 cents a round. If 9mm costs 50 cents a round now, that's what it costs. And with inflation, I don't know that it's going to get any better anytime soon. It may, and I hope that it does. But I wouldn't sit around and wait for it. This is not, ammo hoarder life. I also consider myself a survivalist and a prepper. But this is gunfighter life, and I consider myself a gunfighter. Like I said, I'll reiterate, what good does it do you to have 10,000 rounds hoarded and stockpiled at home if you're not getting out and training? Shooting is a perishable skill. It doesn't matter that I was a state champion rifle and pistol shooter, which I was a few years ago. It only matters how good I am today if I get in a gunfight today. And if I don't practice and I don't shoot, that's on me. It doesn't do me any good to die with 10,000 rounds, hoarded up at home. I'm not telling you to have any ammunition saved up. I'm telling you, for me, it's better to train up until the point where I have just enough to load my magazines. Because I'd rather be good than be a crappy shooter or a crappy gunfighter who's slow and inaccurate and have a bunch of rounds at home. So with ammo the way that it is, I'd say get it where you can get it. As I said, I manage a gun company. I was looking at some of our big distributors going from ammo to firearms. And I thought, I live in an area where I haven't bought, except for a single shot shotgun for like $100, I haven't bought really any guns in quite a while. You might think from listening to this podcast that I just buy guns all the time, but I don't really. I'm a gunfighter, not a gun collector. And if I have a gun in general that I don't shoot very often or I don't have a use for, unless it was like passed down to me, like my grandfather's shotgun, that might be the only one. Or my first, 22 that I ever bought. I'll generally get rid of it. And I haven't bought any guns in quite a while. But I was thinking, the wife and I like to go hiking. We're in an area with bear and with mountain lion. And not just like they might be around, like they're around. Like we're in an area where they're pretty prevalent. And I thought, go and hiking with a 44 mag. That I might want to get one of those, pick one of those up. A 44 mag revolver for hiking in bear country, mountain lion country, or even for going hunting when I'm just mostly out when I'm mostly out scouting and hiking new areas. Maybe I have a tag, maybe it's in season. Maybe I am not mostly out for hunting, but I'm out, and if I see something, I'll take it with the 44 mag. Well, I looked, and on several of the big distributors, I'm not going to say any names, but the big companies where companies get their firearms from, and I could not find any 44 Magnums in stock. Not the gun I was looking for. I could not find any 44 Magnum revolvers in stock from the distributors, period. Which I thought was very odd, because I mean, most people are buying, 9mm plastic Fantastics and AR-15s. But I guess that trickles down, because if most gun companies build a variety of guns, let's say Smith & Wesson, They don't just build revolvers, they also build AR-15s and plastic fantastics. Your high capacity 9mm handguns, and popular nowadays is super subcompact, high capacity handguns. And that's what people are buying most. So I assume that they're spending all their time and effort, or a lot of their time and effort, cranking out those guns, which means that a lot of the old classic guns aren't getting made right now. And I don't know that for sure, but that makes the most sense to me. So this is me theorizing here, but I don't think a lot of people are clamoring for a full-size 44 Magnum handgun more than normal. It makes more sense to me that most people are clamoring for AR-15s and 9mm handguns and subcompact carry guns. So, a big company like Smith & Wesson or Ruger is going to put more resources into that than to their more obscure guns that they're probably not going to sell very many of. So on the state of firearms are getting made. So firearms are getting pumped out. I think they're getting pumped out in record quantities. I think they're getting pumped out a lot, which leads me to another thing in the state of the firearms and shooting industry. With so much ammo and guns getting pumped out, it seems to me like quality control and R&D has kind of gone out the window. It seems to me, in my opinion, that a lot of guns are getting cranked out that have issues. And that's always been the case, but it seems to be an uptick in recent years. I kind of have this rule as a gunfighter, and I told it to my guys under me, and I'll tell it to you guys if you haven't heard it. I'm not sure if I've talked about it here or not, but I don't buy a gun that I'm going to trust my life to in the first 3 years that it comes out. So many people clamor for the next thing that's on, Guns and Ammo magazine or, Combat Handgun magazine, and there's nothing wrong with those guns. There's nothing wrong with innovation, but I don't trust my life to something that's unproven. A lot of new guns that come out have issues. If it's just a fun gun, a range toy for you, that's one thing. But if you're going to have it as a carry gun or a gun you're going to trust your life to, a working gun, why would you trust your life to something unproven? And generally, it takes a year or 2 or 3 to get kinks worked out. A lot of the new guns that come out have issues. And it may not have an issue, but is that something you really want to trust your life on when there's so many good guns that are proven with a solid track record? I'll throw a company under the bus here, Sig Sauer. Sig Sauer makes a lot of really good guns, and they're known in the past for making really good quality handguns. The Sig P210, the Sig P220, the Sig P229, 226s. Those are fantastic guns. They have a reputation for being solid and reliable. But Sig's been pumping out a lot of new guns, and they've been getting into a lot of other things, optics and ammunition and rangefinders, and I think suppressors and all kinds of other things. Well, just off the top of my head thinking, not even looking it up, the SIG 365 had a recall when it came out. The SIG 320s had a recall when they came out. I believe the cross rifles they got into had a recall when they came out. In fact, the 320 had such a bad issue that, if you dropped it or if something happened or hit it, it would go off without the trigger being pulled. That's a pretty big issue. And I wasn't there firsthand, but I believe there's an account of a police officer falling or wrestling or getting knocked down with a gun in his duty holster and it shooting him in the holster. That's a problem. And I see that coming from there's such a high demand that the companies are pumping out so many guns. And so many new guns that so many people want. They want, the reliable handgun that they had for a decade isn't good enough because they want one that holds 2 or 3 more rounds. Well, I'd rather have the solid, reliable one than the one that holds 2 or 3 more rounds that might shoot me if I fall on it, or the one that, the magazines don't work, or whatever the issue is. There's nothing wrong with going out and getting the next new hot gun. My advice to you would be if that's what you want to do, then when you go out and practice and train with your reliable, proven handgun that you have, and after a couple of years, if that other one proves itself to you, then carry that one. If it has a problem, let somebody on YouTube figure that out. Let somebody else figure that out that's not a gunfighter. You don't want to find that out, at 3 a.m. in a dark alley at an ATM or at a 7-Eleven. That's not where you want to find out that your gun has an issue because it got pumped out too quickly, or because the quality control wasn't there, or the R&D wasn't there. Like I said, this podcast I do because God's blessed me with a lot of training and experience, and I try and pass on real world firsthand experience. I have my own biases, yes, I do. But I try to be honest about those, and I try and stay grounded in reality. To me, I see wisdom in something that's already proven and reliable. I don't see the wisdom in my own experience or even in statistics that, a super small handgun that holds 2 or 3 more rounds is going to make the difference. The vast majority of gunfights are solved in the first 2 or 3 rounds, especially with a handgun. Now, I don't have anything against high capacity. The gun that I carry on my hip as a professional gunfighter before this job and that I carry now on my day-to-day job is a STI 2011 with a standard capacity of 21 rounds of 9mm. I got nothing against that. But I got that gun because it's proven it's reliable, and number one, because I shoot it fast and accurately. It's super accurate, and it's lends itself to being accurate at speed. If that gun held 5 less rounds, I'd still carry it, and I wouldn't really bat an eye about it. I know guns have been proven and have who knows how many, state and national championships under their belts of those guns for decades before I trusted my life to one. Another trend I see is the vast, almost avalanche effect of optics getting better and better and better. For years, I bucked the trend of optics. And for a while, I think I was right on that. And then for a while, I think I was wrong and just stubborn. I'll admit it. There was a point, probably 2 or 3 years ago, where optics became a really big advantage on handguns. And I kind of bucked the trends. I kind of for so long thought, oh, they'll never catch on. They'll never be rugged and reliable enough. They'll never have, the battery stability. But I think I was wrong on that for a while when that, started to hit its apex. And I denied it for a while. But I've recently done some training and I've recently encountered optics that made me change my mind on that. And I think that they're not better for every application, but they're better for a lot more applications than I was giving them credit for. Like I said, avalanche effect of how much better optics have gotten in the last few years is incredible. Also, the innovation in optics has become incredible. Sadly, a lot of that innovation has come from foreign companies. I like to see American-made stuff, American-bought stuff, but some of the companies that make stuff in America don't even do the innovation. There are very good optics companies in America that make very good optics, but a lot of the innovative products are coming from other companies. One of my favorite optics I got is a Hollow Sun, and I got it because it has a solar panel on the top. And I don't like to trust my life with anything with batteries, but this, it has a solar panel on it. It has a battery also, but also a solar panel. And I got that thing for a training rifle to beat the crap out of it, and for a ranch rifle to, dispatch coyotes and things like that, and for training to put a bunch of rounds through. And I was not only impressed with the rifle, I was impressed with the optic. That Hollow Sun, I've dropped it. I don't know how many times it's been beaten around, an all-terrain vehicle or the seat of my car, and it's never lost zero. It's never given me any issues. I've never changed the battery in it. It's ridiculously rugged and reliable. That company is just one of other companies that are doing a lot of innovation and a lot of really rock-solid stuff in the world of optics. And for a while, I rationalized saying, but if you drop them, they might break. And that's true. That you drop them, they may break. But to be fair, if you drop a pistol, its iron sights may break. I've seen plenty of guns with broken sights. I'm talking pistols with regular old-school sights that have broken. So I don't know if you drop a pistol and has a broken front sight that you're any better than a pistol with a broken optic. So I recently purchased a optic for my 22 that I train with a lot. It's a Ruger Mark IV. It's set up in a 1911 configuration. It's very similar to my STI 2011s or my, Marine Corps SOCOM 1911 that I run sometimes. It's set up the same continuity of training, and I've been running it on that, and I was really impressed with the speed and accuracy of it. I have to admit that I probably should have jumped on that bandwagon a few years ago. But I have now. I'm training with it. And I just ordered a Trigicon for one of my go-to handguns that I carry on my hip most days, most of the day. So I think they kind of are the way of the future. Do I think you need one on like a carry gun, especially a pocket gun? No, I don't think that you need one. I think they can give you some advantages, but there are still disadvantages. It's not better for everything. The lenses do get dirty. If they get wet, they can have issues. If you get a decent one, even a Holosun, that's a fairly much more inexpensive one. They're still pretty rugged. I'd say probably as rugged as an iron sight or like a standard Glock sight. But if it's in a dirty environment, an environment like that, it still may not be a better choice. But for a lot of things, it is better. One of the big advantages I see, and that I was told in the last training class I went to that made a lot of sense, is you can have your focus on the target. And when your adrenaline is pumping and you have a threat in front of you, your visual focus is probably going to be on the threat. And it takes a lot of discipline in a gunfight to take a deep breath and focus on the front sight. That takes a lot of effort. I'm not saying it can't be done. You've heard my background. But what I'm saying is, why have to do all that if you don't have to? If you can have a target focus and be focused on the threat and still get good, quick, accurate hits on target, why wouldn't you want that? And I think that's a real advantage of the, red dot sight or optical sight on a handgun. So I think those are the main points I wanted to hit on the state of the firearms industry at the time of this recording, November of 2021. I don't know when you're going to listen to this. I hope when you listen to it, ammo is better. With that, I'm going to say thanks for listening. If you like this podcast, you may like the Alpha Male podcast. I plan on recording an episode tonight, so there'll be a new one coming out shortly, at the time of this recording anyway. If you care about the important stuff, you may like Simple Man Sermons, the preachings of a simple man called by God to share the good news of Jesus Christ. Put out a new one of those this morning at the time of this recording. If you want to check out more those other podcasts, your one-stop shop is goodshepherdtraining.com. If you want to support the podcast, goodshepherdtraining.com. Go there. You can see pictures if you're a more visual person. Links to, the Instagram page, stuff like that. If you want to see pictures of, past adventures, shooting competitions, professional hunting excursions, things like that, you can check that out. Again, goodshepherdtraining.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on the podcast. With that, guys, I'll say thanks for listening, and I'll give you a tactical tip. If you're not aware of AmmoSeek is going to be the tactical tip of the day. It is like the search engine. It's like the Expedia.com or Kayak.com or whatever you use to buy airline tickets. It's like that for ammo. It searches the internet for whatever caliber or whatever you put in for the best prices on ammo that's in stock right now. And it's pretty good. I've never had any issues with using it. I've used it for years. So if you're looking for ammo, whether it's 9mm or 44 mag, you can go type that in and it kind of, scours the internet. It's not like the old days where you could just go to SG Ammo or something like that, which is a great company. But they may or may not have it in stock because everybody's having trouble keeping stuff in stock. But that'll search the entire internet and find not only who has it in stock, but the best price. So you can just put in a general search for, let's say 9mm, or you can be more specific, 9mm brass case, or you can say I want 147 grain 9mm Spear Lawman, and it'll search the internet for that. So however specific you want to be. And again, ammoseek.com. They don't give me anything. I get no endorsements, no bribes, or anything from anybody. I'm just giving you that because it's a good solid tip and a good solid way to find ammo if you need it. With that, guys, thanks for listening, and have a blessed day.